Hello friends, welcome to Health and Gardening. Today in this video, I am going to show you some caring tips for orchid plants. And before that, I am going to give a general introduction on orchids. Orchids are the largest and most diverse of flowering plant species. Orchids have a charisma that seems to set them apart from most other flowers. They are elegant and almost unreal in their perfection. Even though orchids are one of the largest flowering plant families, every orchid species has a unique look. Orchids tends to bloom for a quite bit longer than most other flowers. The average orchid bloom, regardless of species, usually lasts for at least 6 weeks. Some variety may lasting from 2 to 3 months indoors, which make it easy to display these beautiful living flowers in your home with very little effort. Most orchids are tropical plants which leaves us epiphytes, which means air plants, hanging onto the trees for support. And some other orchids are lithophytes or rock plants growing on or among the rocks. The remaining orchids are terrestrials which grow in the loamy soil of the forest floor. But orchid plants sold at nurseries and other stores are likely to be hybrids. These hybrids have been created by crossing different species and sometimes different genera to breed in desirable characteristics such as color, fragrance, flower size, and ease of care, and to breed out many of the challenging care aspects of pure orchid species. Today's orchid hybrids are very rewarding houseplants to grow and are relatively easy to care for if you take a little time to understand their basic needs. Many orchids can be easy to grow if you spend some time to learn what they need. Okay friends, now let's see how to care for orchid plants. Orchids care is not difficult, it is just different. Orchids have an unreal reputation for being difficult to grow, when in fact, many varieties make excellent houseplants. With proper care, an orchid can be in bloom for months each year and can live indefinitely. In this respect, orchids are an excellent value as far as blooming plants can go. A well cared for and a varied orchid collection can provide continuous bloom every day of the year. A good orchid care requires just some basic knowledge about orchids and how they grow. Here are the main requirements for proper orchid care. First is watering and humidity. Most orchids require water once a week. Always avoid overwatering as this can lead to root rot. There are some signs that can be used like the potting mix turns dark when wet and gradually lightens as it dries. Orchids do not like wet feet, but they do very much like humidity. As a result, when grown inside a home, orchids are often placed on humidity trays. These trays allow water to collect in the base while the plant is suspended above the water. Commercial trays are available, or a tray can be created from a cake pan filled with stones, or an inverted pot saucers, anything to allow the orchid pot to be above the pool of water. In this way, the orchid benefits from the evaporation of the water. Next is lighting. Ideal position of your orchid is in a bright windowsill facing east or south. Without adequate light, expect less growth but no flowers. Insufficient light is the most common reason for a failure to bloom. These plants thrive in strong light, but direct sunlight can burn them. Bright, indirect light from our eastern or southern window is ideal. Leaf color is a good indicator of the amount of light an orchid is getting. Bright green leaves indicate a happy, healthy plant. Dark green leaves signal that a plant is not getting enough light, while yellowish green or red leaves indicate that a plant is getting too much light. If you suspect that your orchid is exposed to too much light, touch the leaves if they feel noticeably warmer than the surrounding air. Move the plant to a location with a less intense brightness. Temperature. Orchids prefer daytime temperatures of 75 Fahrenheit or more and nighttime temperatures of 65 Fahrenheit or more. In winter time, this is not always practical to achieve temperatures quite this form. However, efforts need to be made to not allow blooming orchids to be exposed to temperatures significantly colder than this. Fertilizer. Experts suggest that using a balanced fertilizer such as ratio of 20-20 and 20 that includes all necessary trace elements. It contains equal amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium to provide a balanced formula for your plants. The nitrogen helps to promote vegetative growth, while the phosphorus and potassium stimulate a solid root system for your plants. Orchids do not require very much fertilizer. A diluted amount on a regular basis is optimal for orchid care. It is best not to fertilize a completely dry plant, as the fertilizer can burn the dry roots. Water first, then follow with fertilizer solution. Next is repotting. Repot them in a fresh orchid mix when your orchid stops blooming. Often multiple media are mixed together in an orchid mix, with each ingredient bringing unique desirable characteristics to the mix. The goal is to use a mix that is open and airy and brings to the orchid the appropriate amount of moisture for its needs. It is better to choose clear orchid pots so that it is easier to see when the roots are thriving and when they are not. It is believed that orchid roots engage in photosynthesis, which makes sense given that they grow exposed to dampened light as the orchid hangs from a tree. And clear pots make photosynthesis by the orchid roots possible. Transparent pots also allow some light to pass through them. Okay friends, I'm concluding this video. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please leave your doubts and suggestions in comment box and subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.